episode of Flashback 64, the normally chronological Nintendo 64 podcast. I'm Gooey, joined as always by McKenna.
Hello.
And yeah, we have a unique, fun, I think, bonus sort of thing going on today. We're talking about, more fighting games and another PlayStation game, though I don't think it's not a fighting game or PlayStation games that people expect or maybe even want to hear about, or maybe they don't know they want to hear about them. Maybe they're about to discover some new gems.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Have an awakening of sorts.
Yeah, an awakening may occur. So, of course, anytime we're talking about some weird fighting games, we always gotta have along with us our pal IdolismJ. How's it going, Jay?
Yep. Drag me out from the trenches. I'm here to talk about slop.
Always good to have you.
Always glad to be here.
We're also joined by a brand new guest. We've got Dr. Butler. What's up, Butler?
Hey, what's up? I'm Dr. Butler. I'm a Kusoge archaeologist. I like to dig up the shit and then show it to everyone. I'm like, look at this weird thing I found on a Japanese website. Yeah, I found this on a website. I probably have spyware on my computer. I got some games on my hard drive that it's like, if you Google the title, two things will come up and they're both me.
Okay.
It's like a Twitter post I made, and then it's like a Reddit post of me asking another guy where I can find that particular game.
So we've got sort of like a powerhouse here of, I sort of let it, this shows how much I don't really know anything. And I don't think you know this either, McKenna, but
No.
One of the times Jay was on, you threw out the term Kusoge, and I was like, in my mind, I was like, no idea what that is, but I'm just gonna. It was in the middle of Jay's sicko corner. I was like, I have no idea what he's talking about.
I mean, usually when we're doing Jay's Sicko Corner, it's like, pick one of 8 terms we should talk about later so I can accurately define them. But that one was maybe a little like I should have backed up. But yeah, Kusoge is the Japanese portmanteau of Kuso and Gemu. So it literally translates to shit game.
Yeah.
I'd also like to throw out there that Butler and I know each other pre this podcast. This is not two people showing up as guests. Like, Butler found the podcast because my name was in one of the fighting game episodes, and like Butler and I have known each other for a while beforehand, so we're all buddies here.
This is like a powerful convergence, I think, here.
So it's like a super group.
A super group.
We're like audio slaves.
Yeah. Who's Tom Morello? Who's Chris Cornell?
I cannot be Tom Morello. I'm not that good. I don't know who an audio slave I can claim to be.
Whatever the drummer's name is. Sorry, McKenna, you were gonna say something?
Oh, I was just gonna say we need to put out a fighting game glossary as a companion to the episode.
So actually, Goo, I'll send you the link. You can link one. There is a fighting game glossary that's made.
Okay, I mean, honestly, we'll be reading it, probably referring to it. So
it's a very, very good website and does a fantastic job defining a bunch of fighting game terms.
But it's been great to get to know both of you, really, and and I really appreciate just yesterday, from recording this, we got to go on your stream, Butler, and watch you guys play these games we're going to be talking about.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
It was honestly
The Criticom trilogy.
Yeah, it was just a lot of fun. So thank you for having us over there. And everyone should go over twitch.tv/Dr. Butler and follow.
Hell yeah.
Well, actually, so normally as an icebreaker, we usually ask new guests what their history with the N64 is, but we're kind of moving between consoles. So just in general, this era of gaming, whatever gen it was, I don't remember. 5th gen.
This is
I can never remember the numbers.
I guess it doesn't really matter, right? But
you always have to work backwards from 7th gen because that's the only one that matters.
Yeah, start from your favorite gen. But what were you playing at the time? What were you up to?
Nintendo 64 came out, 96? So I would have been about 5 or 6 years old.
Right on.
I lived in New York at the time, and the city has a lot of arcades, so I was doing that a lot. I did have a Nintendo 64, actually. I got it around the time it came out. Mario 64. Like I played Mario 64 at a Toys R Us, and it blew my fucking mind.
Mhm.
You know, it was just brand like I said, I'd gone to arcades, so I'd seen Virtua Fighter, Daytona USA, and like 3D wasn't new, but having that level of control over your character, like you have in Mario 64, was just fucking unprecedented. Like I played that once, I'm like, holy shit, this is incredible. I'm like grabbing my mom's pants. I'm like, you need to buy me this for Christmas. It's amazing. It's like real life.
Yeah, it's the GOAT for sure.
Oh, for sure.
Some of these games, I don't think could fall into that category. We're talking about, I've seen referred to as the Criticom trilogy, Trilogy of Terror, I think. I saw on Wikipedia from some review, they pulled that. But it's a series of fighting games made by Kronos Digital Entertainment, which was founded in 1992 by Stan Liu. And I actually discovered they started as like an animation and like CG effects studio. They did, I think their first big thing they ever did was like an opening cinematic for King's Quest 6. And they also worked on the Spider-Man cartoon. And they did the art assets for Phantasmagoria, which
Oh, hell yeah.
Okay, yeah, I didn't know that game, to be honest, but...
Is that like a point-and-click PC game or something?
That's the horror point-and-click PC.
Okay, that makes sense from King's Quest.
Famously, people know the Phantasmagoria 2 because there's a Let's Play by Spoonie back when that's like a relevant name on YouTube, and it's very, very famous.
Oh, okay.
Let's Play.
So, I mean, it kind of shows in these games, because they, at least the PlayStation ones, have these very, like, epic, sort of, like, animated scenes that are very similar to some of the stuff they made here. But they were kind of, they were, like, offered, they got, like, some deal to, like, actually make their own game. And it seems like, well, we'll get into it and talk about it, but we had you on before, Jay, to talk about Dark Rift, and that's kind of where I first I was kind of surprised. I had never heard of it. I didn't know about Criticom or anything, and then it seems like this series kind of has like a reputation. So like Jay, like how did you discover it? Like what's the story here?
Similar to Butler, I just go digging through the dumpster looking for shit.
Okay.
Not like shit in the like catch-all term of stuff,
right.
Shit in like the very literal poop from a butt that and when it comes to fighting games. I mean all games, but you know, with a background in fighting games, I love digging up just awful fighting games. It's really, really interesting. Like on the scientific side, it is very interesting to look at a bad fighting game and see like what did they do wrong?
Yes.
Like you learn just as much from a bad game as you do a good game in that sense.
Right. Yeah. So Butler, you're similar. You're just digging in the dumpster looking for crap.
I'm looking for the weirdest shit. Not even necessarily bad, just strange and obscure.
Sure.
You know, like this is gonna end up being a long tangent, but there's this thing called 2DFM, which is I'm looking at Jay's face. I want to see him crack a smile when I say 2DFM.
I know 2DFM.
Yeah, so it's like this old Japanese like game development engine. It's similar to like Game Maker or like Click Team Fusion, that kind of shit.
Like RPG Maker kind of thing. Like,
yeah, exactly. Okay. So it's like it's an open source engine, and people make their own games with it, and they make the weirdest fucking shit. I was looking through the stuff that I have, and one of the games I found, all the sprites are like hand-drawn pencil artwork, like scanned in. He manually scanned it with like a scanner, and then cropped everything. Oh. And it's like there's no color in the game. It's just like it's old gray graphite drawings, and like all the characters are bears and like weird stuff. It's like a guy who's a lobster. Just weird, bizarre stuff.
Yeah,
you know?
That sounds like inventive, I would say. But yeah, okay.
And so you eventually kind of find your way to Criticom because, like, from our side of fighting games, we have a different view of things, but critics, like actual game journals and journalists and reviewers, they usually see fighting games differently than we do. But regardless of what side of the fence you kind of look at video games with, Criticom is one of those ones that gained a level of infamy for just being that bad.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's
a known quantity of being a bad fighting game.
Yeah, I was excited. Well, let's talk about Criticom.
The Nazome and Zerai clans anointed themselves as the Chosen Ones, a self-proclamation spurred by the acquisition of an ancient relic that bestowed great powers upon its possessors, but not the wisdom to wield that power. Led by their emperor, the Chosen Ones purged all resistance, annihilating entire races. The planet Hyperia fell into the war era.
For the PlayStation, 1995, and then I believe it came to Saturn in 1996. I don't think we've seen that version. I think we were watching you play the PS1 version.
Yeah, that was
We're
PS1,
playing the PS1 version. I gotta play that Saturn version. There's a chance that's even worse.
So we'll definitely, I want to know, under the hood what's going on. But I think we'll do a similar format to our previous Jay's Sicko Corner, where we'll let you guys kind of take over and tell us what's going on. But first, we'll go from the layman's perspective, because we had never played of or even heard of these games until Dark Rift. So McKenna, I want to know first, we played a little bit of Criticom. We watched them play some Criticom. What did you think about Criticom?
It felt very unresponsive.
Yeah.
That was my first thought. Just
Yeah.
I was pressing buttons and I was like, I feel like this is taking a second for my action to actually go through.
Yeah.
And I felt slow and not a lot was going on.
Yeah. Yeah, it was very much it was weird because it was slow, but also we were saying yesterday when we were watching you guys play, when you jump crazy high.
God.
So it's both you feel extremely heavy but also weightless at the same time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it took more to I was trying to get close enough to land a hit.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. It's very frustrating. Also, it felt like your hits didn't really do a lot of damage.
Yeah.
When we were watching YouTube play, a lot of times it just ended because the time ran out. You just do slivers of damage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's hard. Yeah, that's where I think from a gameplay, maybe from a gameplay perspective, maybe you guys could tell us what's going on here. I think it's pretty much universal. It's not good, but yeah, what's going on?
I think you touch base on a lot of the key problems with that game. The controls are unresponsive, so nothing cancels into anything else. So you're familiar with the term canceling, right? That's where when you hit a button, it stops
Whatever
whatever animation you're doing to move into and that results in the controls feeling more responsive and snappy. It doesn't do that. It plays out the whole animation, so you can't really do stuff. You were pointing out that it's hard to get into the range to hit your opponent. I noticed the normals are very stubby. You throw out a punch and it's a foot in front of your guy. You have to get really on top of them to hit them. And it just feels unnatural. It's it's very counterintuitive.
Mm-hmm.
You're just eyeballing the screen and you're I should be able to do this. I should be able to hit him from this range. You can't. You're oh, this attack I should be able to follow this up with this, but it doesn't work.
Yeah, and I think a big part of that is also that this game deals in the third dimension, and the second you get off axis with someone, then you take whatever confusion about how your hits land and multiply them by 3, because things don't track very well. So Butler and I were trying to figure out, do you actually have like invincibility frames when you're doing a dodge, or are you just putting yourself off axis so efficiently that you basically can't be hit because the opponent won't track back to you?
Yeah, they lose their lock on too. Like it's hard to realign yourself with the opponent once they do a dodge roll.
But it like hurts you too. I feel like it's like
Yeah, because there was there was one character that had like a special combo that was like a can sequence of 4 attacks, and I could never get the 4th attack to land because by the time the first 3 had hit, it had kind of pushed the opponent off axis, and it wouldn't continue to track properly.
I think, speaking of like that 3D thing, like the actual button like mapping itself, like trying to, so it's like, what is it, L1 and L2 are like dodge left and right,
Yeah,
and it's so,
Yeah.
it feels so counterintuitive compared to in Dark Rift. They kind of figured it out where like L you dodge left, R you dodge right, so it adds like that on top of like how slow it feels and how off you get. It really feels like every move you have to kind of do like 10 calculations in your head to be like, okay, this is the button I want to hit. It's your, I feel like your classic conundrum, McKenna. Did you feel that way, or like were you just kind of like, whatever, I'm at some point we just start mashing buttons, you know?
That's me with most fighting games.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I guess you're just, because I'm just mashing buttons, I'm like, all right, things are happening later than I think they should be.
Yeah, I feel like I've played enough where I'm starting to like figure out what are like, you know, there's some of those like combos that are pretty standard in a lot of games. But then like there's some like this where I was reading, you know, like the special moves with like R1 and R2 or whatever, like I was just kind of holding those down and pressing buttons. Like, I don't know. What did you think about the game, like Butler J, like from that point of view of like actually executing like things like combos or what have you?
Yeah, that's another weird thing that I just remembered. Like, the special inputs are like you hold down one of the shoulder buttons and it acts like a shift key, and then you put in like a dial a combo and that triggers a special, and it's just like, who has ever done that before? Why would they do it like that? No game that I can recall, nothing I know of, like does that. That's just weird.
Yeah, there was this 1995 when this comes out, so it hadn't really canonized special inputs yet. Like the world had looked at Street Fighter and people were doing that, but people weren't 100% sold on the idea that that's the only way you can do special attacks. So Criticom does have some like quarter circle forward buttons specials, but then they have those very weird ones where it's either hold R1 or R2, and like Butler said, you dial in your combo where it's like hold R1 and R2 and press square twice, and it's super unresponsive. It's not it's not the only time I've heard of something like that. Primal Rage is the dinosaur fighting game.
Oh, yeah.
It has a somewhat similar system for special moves, but Primal Rage is actually good in this game.
Yeah,
Thanks.
yeah.
Primal Rage is actually really cool, but this one, none of it was responsive, and it also felt like there was a lockout period where if you were trying to repeat the move, you had to wait for like 45 frames or so before it would go off again, or you had to move.
Yeah, I noticed that too.
You had to like move before you could hit R1 and R2 or R2 again. There was a very strange like sequence of lockouts where it didn't feel like it was working very well.
I thought of one other thing that kind of slows everything down is just when you get knocked down, it's like impossible to get back up in a timely manner. I think this is the only one that was really plagued by that, but
yeah, no, you're down for a while, like a good 5 seconds. Like, I don't know. Look, I'm starting to wonder if we were doing something wrong. Like maybe there was some kind of command input you're supposed to do to get up, or you're supposed to tech it like when you're landing.
I think the manual said you're supposed to tap like the directional buttons to like get up faster. But even when I was doing that, it took too long. And it didn't feel right.
That's not like uncommon for 3D fighters of the era for knockdowns to be disgustingly long for no reason, but by Criticom standards, even then, it's still way too long, and it doesn't feel like you can interact without waiting 5 seconds.
Oh yeah, it was like we were trying to figure out, or you were trying to figure out, and we were on our own, like ways to like hurt your opponent while they're laying down.
Yeah, can't do it. Doesn't seem like you can do an OTG attack in this game.
OTG. Oh, let me get the glossary up here. No, I got that
one. on the ground.
Yeah, it stands for either on the ground or off the ground, but basically attacking an opponent while they're in a knockdown state.
Well, speaking of going off the ground, ring outs. Ring
outs how you play the game.
Oh, there's like 0 buffer for the ring outs. Like usually in a game where there's a ring out, there will be like a little bit of, you'll have like an invisible wall, for lack of better words, that'll kind of like push you. So it's harder to just walk off. You could just walk off in Criticom.
Yeah, like normally someone's got to like give you a big kick or something.
You would typically have to be kicked off or something, or like you jump, whatever. But no, here you could just slip. You slip and fall. It's like the Walmart bathroom.
And it was very funny. Yeah. Butler clipped it, but it happened multiple times. Mm-hmm. I would like knock Butler off, and then like maybe 2 frames before that windscreen shows up, my character falls off and it says draw. Like I had to like go back to Butler's clip and go frame by frame and like investigate this like it's the Zapruder film, but it's, I swear to God, I am not even off the ring yet, and the word draw is coming on the screen. Like it knew that it had preconceived notion that I am falling off with it. It's like, this is a draw.
You should put that clip.
That
like
clip
should right now, like right after he says that, just insert the audio from that.
I will.
That's how you
a draw. Wait, no. How is that a draw? How is that a fucking draw? Yo, yeah, a draw. No, that shouldn't count as a draw. I died first. That's so. Yeah. That's fucking dumb.
I had a full second.
We had a lot of double ring outs, like a lot of draws. I think I tried a little bit to like get through like just the tournament mode, like playing against the AI or whatever, and I think the most success I had was getting them to basically accidentally fall off the stage.
Yeah.
Did not feel good. Like, does not feel good to win, really does not feel good to lose. I kind of like, I don't hold it against Chronos Digital. Like, what I read was like they basically were offered this and they were like, you have like 6 months or something to make this, and they're like,
that's what I've heard as well. They had no time and maybe no experience.
Yeah, you were talking about like all these things they did where they're like, who does that in a game? And it's like, well, I think probably someone with no experience, very limited time. You know, they've made like computer animations. And I mean, that's actually where the game is actually pretty cool, is we went to the tournament mode just to watch everyone's like intro, and then we realized we weren't going to get their endings, so we looked them up on YouTube. But I couldn't tell you what the game is about. I already forgot it, and we didn't really take notes. But McKenna, what's
various sci-fi things happen?
Yeah, is there lore that we were kind of when we had Maddie Matt on for Dark Rift? He's like a lore guy, so he kind of helped us explore it. I'm kind of missing him now because he not even a fighting game fan, but dedicated to lore. But what do you think? What's it about, McKenna?
I watched that opening thing twice, and I think there were flying ships in there.
There were flying ships. It was really badass, I'll say that.
It looked cool.
All right. So, according to IGN, according to legend, when this universe was created, a master key was forged to lock away all the ancient secrets and infinite powers the cosmos had to offer. The key was then divided and cast into different circles of reality for safekeeping. Okay. So, there's some, like, keys and shit, I guess? That's the lore.
And then, like, a lot of these fighting games we've played, it's like everyone's fighting to get the key or the ore or whatever it is, a crystal. everyone's got their own sort of like story, except for like Demonica. They're like, we don't know what she wants, but
Yeah. We don't know why she's here.
Demonica is a creature from an unknown realm. It is a mystery why she is here.
The only other thing I think I need to mention about Criticom is, because I think this is the only time it's actually super relevant, is fighting games that don't understand how to make frame data have a very hard time being fun to play. And Criticom, when you were watching Goo, like there's a ton of times where Butler would just kind of lock me in like a loop of jabs or a loop of kicks, and I was trying to press a button to get out.
Mm-hmm.
What's happening there is that the game has programmed its attacks to be faster than the recovery of the opponent when they're hit with them. So in Criticom's case, they're not loops in the sense that eventually I can get out. I think I get pushed far enough out where my attack can actually come out first, but that's like a big, and Butler can tell you from experience with a lot of fan-made fighting games, people will program a move, normally like a light jab, where like it's you have three frames of hit stun on it, and it comes out in 2 frames, and if you did the math right, that means that is an infinite loop.
Oh, okay.
You can constantly do that 2-frame move before their 3 frames of hit stun is up. And Criticom doesn't have that, but it's very, very close to it.
The Iron Man classic.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's one thing I can never tell. I'm like, is there something wrong, or am I just getting my ass kicked? Is basically.
No, the game's broken.
Something wrong.
Okay, so all those times you kicked my ass, McKenna, we'll just say that the game's broken. I can't beat McKenna in these games. Wait, before we move on from Criticom, what's everyone's favorite character at least?
Grok.
Is it just unanimous? Grok is
Probably.
I have a soft spot for Sonorak because he has a slide move that is.
He looked pretty dope too.
Again, like the frame data on what his slide move is confuses me. Like it does. It feels like it does between 3 and 6 hits, and then I don't know. Am I plus? Am I minus? What's happening afterwards? It's just a beautiful mystery, and if someone was to dodge that, I could send myself sailing right off the edge.
That just gives him some character.
Yeah, so Grok is the character I think they put the most love into, but like Sonorak I think is my choice.
Grok, yeah,
Star Wars.
He had the coolest like model. I thought Grok is very detailed. I thought compared to some of the other characters.
Big scaly arms.
Yeah.
Do you have a go-to?
You know, I didn't like playing as her as much, but Demonica's there, so.
Okay, fan favorite from Dark Rift just carries over.
Yeah.
She has the coolest like lore just because there is
even though we don't know why. Yeah.
But I like Grok's like video too, because I think you had him like on his like Grok planet and stuff, and I want to know more about it. You know.
Gorm, the mightiest of the Dorlons. His king sent him on a noble mission to retrieve the relic in hopes of saving their dying race.
That's one thing that kind of like is so, I don't know, like I like to think about these games is that like a lot of these other, like you think about like Mortal Kombat has all these like all this history of like lore and all this, you know, all this crazy stuff to it, and there's like all these, there's movies and comics and whatever, but these games like are trying to do that, but all their like lore is contained in like 1 or 2 games and like one sentence of a character, and then it's like because it failed, it's like that's all there is to it, and it I don't know, there's something about that's like it makes it all so much more mysterious or something. I don't know how to describe it.
Goo, you could be the change you want to see in the world.
Could we revive this?
Yeah, go for it. Make your own fan game.
I'm gonna start writing.
Continue the lore, yeah.
Grok fan fiction.
I mean, who even owns Criticom anymore? Are they still in business? Jay, who owns Criticom? Kronos is defunct, right?
Kronos is defunct. I don't know, but they could have gotten the IP rights could have gotten absorbed. chances are it's like in a holding court somewhere next to like someone's 1976 Ford at the auction.
Yeah, I don't know if their fate. I don't know if their last two games, the Fear Effect games, were published by Eidos. I don't think they ever like acquired. I don't know if they acquired Chronos though.
I would not doubt if Eidos has the rights, because I know the Fear Effect games got like a certain amount of success to them. So someone probably just like fire sailed the rights when getting that.
It's sad because they were working on a third one of those, and they have their website archived on like the Wayback Machine. You can go see, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we're just getting our site up and running. We're working on the third Fear Effect game. We're stoked." And then, like, it was that time period where Eidos and like a bunch of companies were like, merging and getting acquired and stuff, and they're like, we don't have the budget for Fear Effect 3 or whatever. So,
corporate consolidation, my favorite.
Yeah. But that doesn't happen. We still have many years to talk about these fighting games. So let's Dark Rift. This was in 1997, which is the year we're in on our podcast still. Nintendo 64.
At the end.
We're almost at the end.
Oh my god.
We're trudging through December, but there's like a game every other day, it seems. But yeah, Dark Rift, we talked about it, on our episode, and I was thinking back to that episode and how it was split with another game. We were talking about Tetrasphere. I was thinking, did we talk about this game enough? Some of the games we only talk about for like 15 minutes or something. But then I was looking and I was like, only a couple people have really spent much time talking about Dark Rift on the internet. So
I mean, I'm down to talk about Tetrasphere. That game's fucking great.
Yeah, let's just stop it. Let's drop it and talk about it.
We probably talked the most about Dark Rift on the internet anywhere.
Yeah, I think I found maybe a couple videos. I was like, cool. But otherwise, like, we're maybe one of the go-to sources to hear people talking about Dark Rift. So,
like, cutting edge.
I don't know. I don't know if we have much more to say from last time, but I will say, after watching them play Criticom and playing it ourselves, we were playing a little bit today. We played a couple rounds of Dark Rift, and I was like, when we first talked about it, we were like, it's whatever, it's fine, it's not that remarkable, it's kind of boring. But now going from Criticom, I'm like, this is a really good game.
Yeah,
I think the bar might have just been lowered, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I think we were experiencing some fighting game fatigue at the time.
That's true too. We were coming off of what? War Gods and
several.
War Gods was around that episode.
We hadn't done Clay Fighter yet though.
No.
And we started with like the really good. We started with like Killer Instinct and Mortal Kombat, and then it just kind of went.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't know. Playing it again, I was like, it's fun. It's fun to play some rounds.
It does look better in comparison to Criticom than it does to some of the other games we were playing at the time.
Yeah. It's kind of like not a great like visually like looking game, but yeah, compared to Criticom, like the fact, Jay, you were saying like 60 frames it also is crazy. Like it runs really well.
That game runs at 60 frames, and that I think is I don't really have anything to say about Dark Rift that I didn't say in that first episode. I will just reiterate, damn, that game looks good at 60 frames, and that does a lot of the work for it. I think that game's just kind of unremarkable, and if you watch back the stream, like Butler and I and the rest of the call, we're kind of just chatting about any old thing and not really talking about Dark Rift. Like, we're playing it, it's not bad, but like we're not talking about it.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much my opinion. It's unremarkable. It's not like aggressively bad as Criticom, but sometimes that's kind of worse.
Yep.
Because it makes it like less interesting to talk about. You're just like, it's mid. I guess that's it. The end.
I said on the stream, like, it needs to either be better or it needs to be worse.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, it's nice you can't ring out like you could in the other one, but then also it's like the stages aren't that exciting looking in comparison, you know? Like the other one at least had like kind of crazy, there's some nice backgrounds, I'd say, but a lot of it's like kind of sludgy, unremarkable, you know?
All right. Yeah, so we'll talk about it a little bit. You know, they went. Criticom had like a Tekken button layout. It was 4 buttons, 2 punches, 2 kicks. Dark Rift switches to like a kind of like proto Soul Calibur, where it's got a guard button and then it has 2 slash buttons and then a kick button, and then also like the dodges and all this other stuff. So it is a bit different. It mixes things up. It's a sequel. It's trying to change things up. It's also, like you pointed out, there's no ring outs. It's all infinite stages like you have in like Tekken 2. The Grok model is objectively worse in Dark Rift than Criticom. He was massively downgraded. They took away his scale textures on his arms.
Yeah, that's what made Grok, like the model, really good.
Yeah.
And then it's also really noticeable, like being on Nintendo 64 as opposed to PlayStation, because like there's no cool ass like cutscenes, you know, like there's just like a text scroll, and
the start screen of the game feels like a screenshot of something. Like you look at the Dark Rift intro screen and you're like, there should be some movement or some animation or something, but it is a screenshot.
Yeah, it's a little bland, but it was good to see Grok come back, and like some of the characters were nice, I'd say. Like they at least looked they looked better than like the gun hand guy in the first one. So
oh god, yeah, Dayton in the first one and his awful like 4 polygon gun hand.
Dayton,
or as I like to call him, John Criticom.
John Criticom.
Dayton Trent, a soldier of fortune. He will soon embark on the greatest treasure hunt of all time.
And of course, we get our favorite version of Demonica.
Yeah,
she had I
think I said this in our episode, but they were brave enough to put an ugly woman in a game.
That was bold, yeah.
Yeah.
That you actually play as, I think, too. It's like, yeah. And
she got that gargoyle surgery.
Yeah.
Gargoyle surgery, yeah. That was her story. And of course you can unlock, I forgot, you can unlock Snork and someone else. We Game Shark did at some point, but yeah, I don't know. I think it's one, it can be fun, but it's not, you know, we haven't played like a majority of the N64 library, but it's already like off of we have like a little box where we keep our favorites that we've played so far, and it's already out of the box. It's like, yeah, not one we're gonna reach for very often.
It's not a bad game, but it's nobody's favorite.
It is. You can see though, I think like like you mentioned it, Butler, like they're improving certain aspects, and I think it really sets them up for their magnum opus.
Their magnum opus. Oh, before we move on to the greatest game I've ever played this week, Dark Rift is on Steam. Did you guys know that?
Someone told me that a while back.
Oh, I think it was me yesterday.
Yeah.
I before that, I might be confusing it with like, because sometimes games of this caliber just show up on Steam, and I can't remember if it's the same publisher that's just been releasing them. Like it's not the same people who did the Glover randomly showing up on Steam, I don't think. But there's another company that does it. So
who's the company? Yeah, McKenna's got it. Does it say the publisher?
Pico Interactive?
Pico,
yeah. It's Pico Interactive it does a bunch of like they must be buying up rights for like pennies on the dollar and then putting those games on PC.
Interesting. Okay. Well, maybe we need to get in touch with them then about doing the third game, because
Criticom 4, yeah.
Yeah.
Because we're gonna get into Cardinal Sin, but that was like, this is the end of the Dark Rift storyline, you know, like again, I forgot what this game is about. I think it's just they need to get the crystal again, but you know,
I got the Steam description.
All right, yeah, I didn't want to make McKenna write descriptions for every game this time, but yeah, what's it say it's about?
According to legend, when this universe was created, a master key was forged to lock away all ancient secrets and infinite powers.
Infinite powers the cosmos had to offer. Yeah, it's the same one.
They went from Criticom?
Wait, are you serious?
Oh my gosh.
That's fitting that they would just
Oh yeah,
use
it's
that.
got
That's
the whole story.
It's like
It's
10
got-
paragraphs.
It is said, when chaos reigned long ago, a cloaked man appeared and began walking the ravaged earth. This man, now named the Wanderer, carried with him a book that contained great and boundless secrets. After the Wanderer's arrival, civilization flourished, and the clans raised flags bearing his symbol of unity.
Well, in that case, so yeah, it's the end of this storyline. Let's move on to Cardinal Sin. We're back on the PlayStation, 1998,
Oh, yeah.
slightly out of our timeline, but it's all right. Cardinal Sin, yeah, a lot different, and yeah, I think we kind of had some fun playing this one, didn't we?
Yeah.
It like is actually, I can't tell if it's like a great game, but it's a fun game. You know.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a
I
great
think
game. I have no.
it
We'll
looks-
ask them.
it-
But
It looks
It's
decent.
jank, batshit crazy nonsense, and I fucking love it. There is a dedicated walking around like a dapper dandy button.
that
You
is
just hold that button and you just go for a fucking Sunday stroll. I love it.
the best implementation of like a 3D button. It takes the 3D button from War Gods, and it's like, no, it's just you hit that and you just live in 3D.
Mm-hmm.
You don't just do 3D, you are 3D.
The input's even labeled a roam.
Mm-hmm.
Rome.
Yeah,
Just
that's
roaming around.
called Rome. It's like it's Rome, and then there should be a one where you go slower called Saunter.
Saunter, yeah.
Peace reigned for many years throughout the land. The Wanderer, believing that his peaceful teachings were concluded, gathered the clan together, transformed his book, and disappeared. The clan members' shock expired as quickly as the Wanderer's word, and the clans returned to their brutal practices.
This was a step up though, right, in all regards. Like,
Absolutely.
it still had the cool. It brought back the cool CG cutscenes and intros and stuff. Love watching those, but also like, yeah, played better. You could roam. The visual, like the actual like stages and characters look way better. Like, I don't know, what more could you want?
Yeah, everything was distinct. The environments and the characters, it was nice to look at. I felt the characters, the characters more distinct too. Like I
Mm-hmm.
felt more, I don't know, attached to each individual one. Like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, look at Plague.
That was your favorite, Plague.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's such a goofy little guy.
Because yeah, whenever he wins, he just busts it down.
Oh yeah, he does this little dance.
Great roster. We got Heckler the Jester. We got Steigen, who's like some kind of like cow-headed skeleton man. We got like
Is that the Jester's name?
yeah, Heckler was the Jester, right?
No, yeah, that's right. Heckler's the Jester. Finkster is the
Finkster.
the little-
He is like a
Yeah.
thief guy.
Finkster.
That's it. That was it.
And so Finkster, that's the only tie-in to the other games. Because this game it's like a medieval fantasy type
Mhm.
setting, but they do have like the Finkster when he goes back to his Fink lair and he's like digging through his goods that he's finked. I think he pulls out the like crystal thing from Dark Rift and like tosses it away. So I liked that little, that was like an appropriate Easter egg, but it was, I don't know, it was kind of cool, like much different than the weird like sort of sci-fi. It's a bit more familiar, I guess. I kind of like the weirdness of some of Criticom, where Cardinal Sin, it's like these characters are more familiar to like certain fantasy tropes, but it's better executed though, even if it's like less goofy.
Pandemonium ruled the Bloodland as unity and alliance were substituted with greed and malevolence. Complete annihilation was inevitable. In the midst of one of the most bloody battles, a blinding flash suddenly suspended all warfare. In the center of this explosive light stood the cloaked figure of a woman. All were stunned as the woman held the almost forgotten symbol of unity high for all to see.
But from what do you guys think? Tell us from your, more refined fighting game perspective. Like, how did it come off to you guys?
I think the important thing is that it plays responsively. Like, that's like out the gate. You press a button and it does what it's supposed to, and that it feels good to play. Because I wouldn't describe Cardinal Sin as like a competitive game. I don't know if it really has the tenacity for that. I think like if you were to play this like super seriously, it would probably kind of break under the pressure. But what's most important is that it is a very fun game.
Big time.
Like it is. There's a lot of cool things you can do in this game that make it really fun. Like the first time Butler parried one of my attacks and it knocked me backwards. And it does so in like a cinematic, so it feels cool. But you're not like invincible while that happens. So he knocked me back into a stage hazard, and that did extra damage. And I was like, yeah, that's fun. Like that's just cool. Like that's the cool stuff that you want to have happen during a video game.
There's like you can also push too, right? Like
you can push.
There's a clip of Jay getting run over repeatedly by a minecart.
Yes.
You got hit like 5 consecutive times. Then it clipped through you, and it hit you an extra time, and you fell over. Then you got up and started walking, and the second minecart came and killed you.
Yeah, it was like we were on such an axis where I got hit by the minecart, it knocks me down, and I wake up into the minecart again. And so once the minecart's done running me over 3 times, I get up and I, for whatever reason, decide to do like my horizontal slash, but I don't realize that the minecart is already spawning back at the beginning again, and I die just because the minecart hits me.
Like, probably 8. Oh my god, get me out of the minecart!
What? This is a good game. And like that reminds me, like the stage hazards are like all unique. Like they have very distinct vibes, and like it's like acid or lava or spikes or whatever, and it's like very thematic with all the characters.
Yeah, I think for like how good the characters are, the stages are even better. Like the stages are the real star of the show.
Yeah. What's your favorite stage to mix it up on?
There was like a drawbridge or like a wooden bridge stage that we didn't find when we were playing that I like, but of the ones we saw, I am gonna have to give it to the Heckler like merry-go-round of evil and
oh god,
and motion sickness.
I like the minecart stage because of that incident. It was funny.
The minecart,
cool.
It must be impressed to people listening. The minecart runs through the very center of the stage. That is what makes it so much fun.
Like the match starts and it's like already between you, basically.
It was then that the clan leaders were gathered and instructed to present their invaluable scrolls. Those who were present at this gathering have related a strange tale filled with inexplicable power. A tale that is only concluded when the woman magically turned the scrolls into inscripted swords. This woman is Sin.
Let the grand tournament begin.
Well, yeah, who is your go-to character then, too? Or I guess you played them all like a couple times, but who is your favorite?
Across multiple times of playing this game, I love playing Plague. I always liked it. I thought he's so goofy, and he's a really fun character.
Plague. Okay, how about you, Butler?
I like the skeleton. Forgot his name. I think it's like Stygian or something. Stygian.
Stygian, I believe.
Stygian. That's it. Yeah. Yeah. Listen, if there's a skeleton in a game, I'm gonna pick the skeleton. So
he had a cool like walk animation too. Like
he did. Yeah. Right.
We gotta get the
He's
edit
walking
on
around like some kind of British dandy. You know.
Yeah, that clip of him and Plague hanging out was really good.
Let's go for a stroll. Yeah, let's go.
Where's my there you go.
Oh, there we go. Hey, well, how you doing, bro?
Yeah,
What's up?
yeah,
Man, I think I had a few too. I had a few too many, man. Wearing a monocle and a top hat. Got his little pocket watch. He's like, how are my pork bellies doing? Jay, I'm thinking of playing Killing Zone this Sunday because that game also has a skeleton in it.
That game has 2 skeletons.
2 skeletons? Right. That's
yeah. I think they're just palette swaps.
It has a customizable RPG mode skeleton in it.
Yeah, I've dabbled with Killing Zone a couple times. If it's the game I remember correctly, that game is dire.
Plague was your favorite?
Yeah, I think I played as him the most.
There is a wide amount of unlockable characters that you guys just had unlocked already that we didn't even get to play as that looked really sweet. What was the one that was like, it was like a fairy character?
That's Junie.
Junie, that looked really cool.
Yeah.
That character, yeah, she was really cool because like her basic like horizontal /3 times string ended in a launcher, and then you could do a juggle afterwards because this game was good, and so you can hit people while they're in the air.
There was not Grok wasn't back, but there was like sort of a Grok, but he wasn't like
it was like his name was like Mongold or something. He's like some little Cyclops guy, not green. He wasn't shame, but he did have a fart attack, which is as close as we're getting to a Grok.
Yeah, not scaly though. I need to see the scales.
Yeah, I want to see that texture.
Poor Grok imitation.
We got Grok at home.
And preparation for the grand tournament began as the contestants were ready for combat. Each fought to the death until only one was triumphant. This champion rose to Sin's temple to claim his right to rule the Bloodland. He was never again to be seen.
There's some other like unique aspects about it too that like there was like, for example, like the pickups you could get on the stage itself that could kind of like I found that became like a strategy when we're like competing of like oh, I'm hurt, like I'm gonna go for, you gotta take a chance, go for a box, maybe you'll get like a healing potion or whatever. And then there was those other potions we didn't figure out what they did, but
yeah, we didn't figure out exactly what those were for. The big one was the sword. When you get the sword, like your damage is multiplied by 2, maybe 3 even, and so you start chunking out damage.
I think the manual said something about those little potion things. I forget if it said they were like they let you do a special move or something.
That's what I thought. I might can read that manual, but
I never executed a special move, I don't think. Maybe. This also in a step up, like this had like other, only a couple, like, but it had other like modes to it. Like I don't think the other ones had a practice mode, I don't think, and it had,
I think Dark Rift did.
Did it? Okay.
Definitely not Criticom.
And then it had like this like team battle mode where like everybody picks whatever 5 or something characters and you just do like one-on-one battles until your team. I think I've seen stuff like that in other fighting games, but you know, it's kind of,
but that's always fun. Always fun to see.
Cool variety. Yeah, we mostly just did 1v1. We did the team one time and we kind of just it was a blowout. I might have like you and Plague. I couldn't overcome you.
Yeah, I don't know how.
I don't know. I think that just your button mashing is better than mine. I'm too busy like trying to figure out how to do like a move, you know? Like I'm like, oh, what if I?
Yeah, I'm just like, all right, I gotta press the buttons faster.
I'm like,
yeah, McKenna's out here hunting for the W.
Yeah, you wanted it more. That's all that matters.
Now a generation later, and Sin has not been seen for decades. Only a distant glowing light from her temple betrays her presence. The weapons of Trinity await a new champion. The time for a grand tournament has arrived.
Again, I couldn't tell you what the story was in this one, but there was a badass cutscene with like an old man, bearded man, and some like scrolls. Everyone got scrolls, and yeah, I was into it. Again, just watching. I'll probably fire it up and just watch the cutscenes again.
Yeah, a lot of scrolls in that game. All the menus are scrolls.
That's right. Like
got like a scroll motif going on.
The map screen,
like swords and shields.
Yeah, Yeah, Cardinal Sin, I would say it's a good game. That's one where if like people were over, you could be like, let's play this silly fighting game,
And you'd have fun with it. This is the whole point.
Yeah. Look. I think we can all agree we need on PS5 the Chronos Fighting Collection.
Yes.
We need to play Cardinal Sin and Dark Rift, roll back netcode, make it happen. All right. What was that company who ported it to see? What was it? Pico.
Pico, yeah.
All right. Yeah, we got to start a petition. All right, we're gonna petition Pico, re-release the Criticom.
They were published by Vic Takai. What are they doing? Can we get a hold of them?
Where? Yeah. When did
Vic Takai, I believe, is like a prolific shmup developer.
They did a bunch of things.
They published like a ton of games. Yeah.
Yeah. I think they've been like an entertainment publishing firm before they got into video games, like a la Pony Canyon.
Yep, there's Criticom.
See, I'm very curious, like all of the, not only the lore of like in the game itself, but just like about the production of these games and everything. It's very like there's very few things I think to go off of. Like if you go to all of these games, like most of the info about it, like development wise, that you get if you're looking on like Wikipedia or something, it all comes from like one interview Stan Liu did with I think it was like game developers, like some interview he did about the Fear Effect games and like talked about these games. And I don't know, I want to know more. I want to know more about what their life was like and what everyone who made these games is up to now, you know? Like, cuz you get all these other, you know, big developers from the time, you get kind of like the storied, you know, history. I guess I just want to know what Stan is up to now, cuz like he doesn't have other game credits really. Like a couple, like I think his last credit was like a thank you on something. So I'm just kind of curious. Yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of curious.
Hey, I've definitely noticed over the years, like people just exit the industry after a certain point. And you know, he could be, I don't know, he could be in real estate by now.
True.
That's just how it goes.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun playing these though, and so I thank them for that. I guess Butler, is there anything else you want to say about any of these games or the series or anything?
You know what? I mean, Cardinal Sin kicks ass. It's got Power Stone 2 vibes to it. It's pretty Dreamcast core. It's on PS1, but it feels like a Dreamcast game in energy and spirit, you know?
It was just like setting the table for the Dreamcast, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
How about you, Jay? Any lessons learned? Any big takeaways?
I'm kind of glad we got to talk about these, because these are three of, I was about to say my favorite, and it's like I should not start anything regarding the Criticom trilogy with my favorite. But they are kind of a very interesting curio of the fighting games in the mid-90s that is worth talking about, because Criticom is that bad, but Cardinal Sin is also that good. And Dark Rift exists.
Yeah, it does. I think it does. You see like kind of a cool progression of the studio that didn't know what they were doing at first and didn't have the time or the budget or whatever, and they worked their way to make a pretty fun game. And I don't know, that's why it makes me sad. I feel like there's more potential there that we never got to see, but that's the story, I guess, of a lot of gaming, a lot of small developers like that. But McKenna, any final takeaways, any thoughts?
It was cool to see the evolution of these.
It's kind of been what we've done with the show. Like, you know, we're going chronologically. We're not trying to just play all the big games, you know. So same thing with, you know, when we've covered like Tomb Raider or whatever, but it's fun to also pull some stuff from the PlayStation library that you know, people don't often talk about or think about. And that was fun to do. Thanks, guys, for joining us. It was a lot of fun to have you on. It was a lot of fun to watch you play and to get like your knowledge about the games and the genre, I guess. But
of course.
Yeah. Butler, what do you want to promote?
Okay, yeah, you know what? Follow me on Skeeter. It's what I call Blue Sky. So just search Dr. Butler. Spelled all the way out. I'm also on Twitch. That's twitch.tv/Dr. Butler. And if you're into retro stuffs, I got a second side block on Blue Sky that's Sega Bass Fisherman. It's all about Sega Dreamcast, so check that out as well.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that was you. I just followed that. Awesome.
I didn't know it was Butler at first, but like after a couple posts, I kind of just put it together and I was like, "That's Butler." I know.
Well, I highly recommend checking out the Twitch. It was really fun to do because it was like I said, it's just like we don't know like a lot of the world of like fighting games, and it was like fun to like get to hang out in your Discord and like kind of just like talk to guys from your community like that we just don't know at all, and it was fun. We're like out of our comfort zone, and
yeah, my streams are usually like revolving doors. I'll just do it in the casual chat. People will pop in, they'll be like, "Yo, what's up?" I remember someone came in yesterday and told me about something, and I didn't catch what they said, and then they left.
I remember I can't remember if it was Frosty. It was like Frosty was popping in and was like, "Yo, I'm watching this with a Costco hot dog," but my phone fell like that, and then left.
Yeah,
Frosty's the fucking man. We love that guy.
I followed someone on Blue Sky, and it was just fun because it was like I was like, who are these characters? You know, like they were very fun, but like it was like we felt welcomed. You know, it was great.
Yeah, of course.
Fighting game people are always very welcoming.
Well, how about you, Jay? What do you want to promote?
You can find me on Blue Sky at idolism.yace.world. If they punched out my, I have a unique at, so I have to remember how it works. But yeah, it's IdolismJ, IDOLISMJ @yace.world. Yace is YASE. I guess I have to spell that out too. Sheesh. But more prolifically, I guess you can find me on YouTube at youtube.com/IDOLISMJ. I do a variety of big YouTube videos there, sometimes about fighting games, more often about Final Fantasy.
Yeah, you cooking up the next Final Fantasy video?
Cooking that one. Actually, honestly, I'm writing like 3 Final Fantasy videos at the moment. Goo.
Oh.
I do so much pre-production so that when it becomes production time, I don't have to think about it as much.
Well, that shit is high quality, I'll say.
Thank you very much. Goo.
To both of you, the stream, I was like, this is awesome. Like, I just loved your.
Butler's a great stream.
The setup and the vibe, it was very cool, and all the like the interstitials you had. I'm just gonna gas up both your guys' production values. It was really great.
Hell yeah.
Anything else you want to promote, McKenna? I think, go check out our stuff below in the links. It's fine. Whatever sounds cool to you. We have different mediums.
Check the website.
Yeah.
Check the website.
All right, cool. Well, thanks everyone for listening, and we will see you. I don't know what's coming next. We'll see you later. Bye.
Bye.
Adios.
Later.
And as always, we want to give a special shout out to our Millennium Star tier patrons. So thank you Cyberlink420, Darren Hupke, Infection Form, Jeremy Aber, Kiefer, Nico Sylvian, Paul Quaid, and Underlined V. Thank you so much, and you can find our Patreon over at patreon.com/flashback64. Now look at these characters look sick.
This is fucking gaming right here.
And these guys are too these guys are too built to be Groks. I feel like you got to have some extra like belly beef on you. These guys are in the gym.
This shit right here is triggering some lizard brain shit in me. Let's fucking go. Gorm Spear Mirrors.